Help me hit 7,000 subscribers. Support the video with a like and share your thoughts in the comments. I read everyone. Thank you. My name is Arden Hale, and if you had asked me a year ago what I thought marriage was built on, I would have said trust, shared laughter, and the quiet certainty that the person beside you was your teammate. I never imagined that a single sentence, delivered with a smirk and a coat of lip gloss, could undo a decade of that belief. It started on a Friday evening, the kind that feels too calm to belong to any disaster. I was cleaning up after dinner when my wife, Lila, walked into the kitchen dressed like someone who wasn't planning to come home early. A shimmering silver dress, heels she wore only on birthdays, and the familiar perfume she saved for nights she wanted attention. She grabbed her clutch, slid her phone inside, and casually announced, "I'm heading to Nightshade with Celeste and the girls." I looked up. "Now? You didn't mention this." She shrugged, checking her lipstick in the microwave door reflection. "It was a last-minute plan." "Lila," I said, trying to keep my tone steady. "We talked about how nightclubs make me uncomfortable. The scene, the drinking, the random guys." She snapped the microwave door shut. "Arden, seriously? Don't start. You're being controlling." "I'm not trying to control anything. I'm asking for respect." She laughed short, sharp, dismissive. "Respect? You don't own me. If you don't like something, get a divorce." Just like that, a decade together, reduced to a throwaway line tossed over her shoulder. I felt something inside me settle. Not break, not shatter, just shift into a position it should have been in long ago. I looked at her, at the woman who once cried when I surprised her with hot chocolate during a snowstorm, and I realized she wasn't that woman anymore. Maybe I wasn't the same man either. So I replied, calmly and clearly, "Already, my dear." She froze. Her glossed lips parted. For the first time that night, her eyes focused on me like she was actually seeing me. But instead of asking what I meant, she scoffed and waved me off. "Whatever," she muttered. "We'll talk later." And she left, heels tapping, perfume trailing behind her, the front door closing like the last line of a chapter. I didn't follow her. I didn't call anyone. I didn't even sit down. I simply walked into the office and opened my laptop. The divorce papers had been drafted months ago. Not because I wanted to leave her, but because I feared one day she'd push me far enough that I'd have no choice. The marriage had been fraying. Cold shoulders, silent dinners, nights she'd stay with Celeste, without warning, mornings she'd scroll through her phone like I wasn't standing 3 feet away. I had held on to hope longer than was healthy. But her words tonight, they weren't anger. They were her truth. So I signed the papers electronically, sent them to myself as a final copy, and forwarded them to her email with one simple line. "As you requested." Then I put my phone on the dining table and waited. Not because I expected anything, but because I wanted to see who she became when she realized I no longer played the role she wrote for me. Took 3 minutes. I heard the gravel crunch in the driveway. Fast, frantic, like someone who didn't care if their car tires ripped open. The front door burst open, and Lila stormed inside barefoot, heels in her hand, hair frazzled from the rush. "Arden," she shouted, panting. "What the hell is this?" She held up her phone displaying the email. Her mascara had smudged from tears, or maybe from running. Couldn't tell. "You said if I didn't like something to get a divorce," I replied evenly. "So I did." Her eyes darted across my face, searching for anger, hurt, love, anything she could use. But I was done giving her pieces of myself just so she could decide whether they were worth stepping on. "You're not serious," she whispered. "I am." Her breathing hitched. "You can't do this. You can't just decide." "You decided first." For the first time in months, silence stretched between us. Raw, honest, unfiltered. She sank onto a chair, clutching her heels like lifelines. "Arden," she said softly, "please, we need to talk about this." I nodded once. "Good, let's talk." But neither of us knew that what she wanted to say next would change everything. Lila sat there trembling, mascara streaking down her cheeks like she hadn't expected the world she built to collapse so quickly. For years, She had assumed my love was a quiet constant, unshakable, unconditional, something she could bend without ever breaking. And maybe she had been right for a long time. But the man she left standing in this house 3 minutes earlier was not the one she found now. She wiped her face with the back of her hand. Arden, I didn't mean it. You know I didn't. I leaned against the edge of the table, arms crossed. Then why did it come out so easily? She swallowed hard. Because you were judging me. You always. I asked for communication, not control, I said calmly. There's a difference. Her eyes flickered with something, shame or realization. I wasn't sure. She placed her heels gently on the floor, like she was suddenly aware of every sound she made. I shouldn't have gone to the nightclub, she whispered. Not like this. Not after everything we've been going through. It wasn't the nightclub, I said. It was the way you dismissed our marriage like it meant nothing. She looked up sharply. It does mean something. Arden, please. Don't pretend it doesn't. I didn't respond immediately. I let the silence stretch again, watching her twist her fingers together the way she did when she was scared. There was something painfully familiar about seeing her like this vulnerable, this undone. But it also reminded me that for months, maybe years, I had felt the same fear alone. When did we lose respect for each other? I finally asked. She flinched. I don't know. I do, I said quietly. It was when honesty became optional. When nights out replaced nights in. When your friends became the people you confided in, and I became the man you updated like a calendar reminder. Her voice cracked. I never meant to push you away. But you did, I replied. And you didn't stop. She exhaled shakily, like she couldn't hold herself upright anymore. Arden, tell me what you want from me. I'll do anything. Just tell me. That's the thing, I said. I don't want you to do anything because I ask. I wanted you to do it because you cared. Her face crumpled as she looked down at her trembling hands. For a long moment, neither of us moved. The house felt too quiet, the air too heavy. It was strange how the same four walls that once held laughter now held nothing but echoes of choices we couldn't take back. She finally gathered enough strength to meet my eyes again. I don't want a divorce. I was stupid, careless. I thought you'd always stay no matter what. I didn't realize how far I'd gone. And if I hadn't finally stood up for myself tonight? I asked. She hesitated. I don't know. You would have kept pushing. Her silence was an answer. After a moment, she whispered, What happens now? I don't know, I admitted. But I do know I can't go back to the way things were. I can change, she said desperately. Please, Arden, just give me a chance. I can fix this. I shook my head gently. You can't fix something you refused to acknowledge was broken. She stood up slowly, like her knees might buckle. Then, should I leave? I didn't say yes. I didn't say no. I simply looked at her, letting the weight of the question hang between us. She stepped closer, but carefully, like approaching someone who might disappear. Can you just tell me one thing? She whispered. Do you still love me? It was a cruel question, a hopeful one, a desperate one. I do, I said honestly. But love without respect is just attachment. And that's what we became. She covered her mouth as a quiet sob escaped her. I don't know how to fix respect, she whispered. You start by listening, I said. By choosing us without being asked. By not running to a nightclub because you're bored. And by not treating divorce like a punchline. She nodded slowly, like each word landed exactly where it hurt. I want to try, she whispered. I want to heal, I replied. Together? She asked timidly. I thought about it. Not for a second, those answers are emotional. I thought for a minute, letting logic speak instead of fear, letting clarity write the script instead of hope. Together, I said finally. But with boundaries, with honesty, and with both of us choosing this marriage, not threatening it. Her shoulders sagged with relief, but her eyes told me she understood this wasn't a victory. It was a warning. A start over, not a reset. Okay, she whispered. I'll earn your trust back. And I'll rebuild mine, I said. She stepped close enough to touch me but didn't. Maybe she knew she wasn't entitled to that intimacy yet. Maybe she finally understood that love is not a guarantee. It's a choice renewed every day. For the first time in a long time, Lila didn't act like the woman who walked out the door dressed for attention. She looked like the girl I once knew, the one who cried during thunderstorms and held my hand in grocery store lines. But this time, she didn't hold my hand. And this time, I didn't offer mine. Because healing starts with space, not closeness. She nodded once. "I'll do better." And I nodded back. "I'll notice if you do." That night, we didn't sleep in the same bed. Not out of anger, out of understanding. Sometimes the path back to each other begins with finally standing apart.